Music Talk takes you to Coldwater, Tennessee. Here's Dallas Wayne to tell us all about it.
If I might get around the edges and look a little hard, life ain't easy on this honky-tonk star. Spent my soul in 1,000 dives. I've been on this highway since 75.
All right, tell me about Coldwater, Tennessee, the album and the place.
Well, Coldwater, Tennessee is just a little spot on the map there in southern part of the state, right on the Georgia line.
Right.
And we kind of pulled that one out of our hat or somewhere else. I'm not sure where we pulled it out of to use it for the title of the song.
Okay. All right. And have you been to Coldwater?
No, haven't yet, but I have a buddy of mine, Bill Anderson's bass player, is from around that area. And when he found out that I was doing this album, I had a song called Coldwater, Tennessee. He started sending me pictures and all sorts of stuff like that. He said, it really exists. It really exists.
There you go. And Bill Anderson is Whisperin Bill Anderson? Is that who?
Whisperin Bill, you betcha.
He's what, like 84 years old now, isn't he?
He's up there, but he's still kicking strong. He's writing better than ever and still entertaining folks. In fact, we have a co-write on this record.
Right. Which tune is that?
Even Brought Her Flowers. It's called He Even Brought Her Flowers. Wrote that with Bill and Buddy Cannon.
And how they lie on the hillside, count the stars and talk for hours. She remembers it like yesterday. He even brought her flowers.
You do a lot of co-writes? Do you like working with other people?
I do a lot. Yeah, have in the past too. And a lot of the songs on this record are co-writes that I've written with Robbie Folks.
Right.
He's a great writer. And Robbie and I go back 35 years, I guess, probably knowing each other at this point. And it's a great fit us writing together because I take him in a different direction and he takes me in a different direction. And it kind of broadens both of our spheres a little bit.
Cool. So I know you do a lot of other stuff. You do voiceover work and you do radio stuff and all that. So what brought you to the point where you wanted to make and release this album?
Well, radio was a career late in life.
Right.
I started in 2005 on Sirius XM satellite radio.
Right.
And they wanted musicians to do shows, not necessarily radio people.
Gotcha.
It gives it a nice perspective.
Sure.
And that's how I ended up with that job. And it's 17 years later, I'm still there. And more and more, it's taken over a lot of what I spend my time doing these days. No more long tours as much as they used to be.
Sure.
Because of that, because 50 hours of radio a week will kind of tie you down to a place.
Yep.
But we still get out and tour quite a bit. And it'd been a while since I'd done an album of original material. The first 13 or so were almost all original material. And the last two records were things called Songs the Jukebox Taught Me. There were 2 volumes of that, volume 1 and volume 2.
Yeah.
And ended up wanting to kind of get back into the writing thing and showcasing that part of who I am.
Cool. So you, where and when were most of these tunes recorded?
We recorded this album in Nashville a year ago in May. So it's coming up on a year anniversary of the record. Buddy Cannon produced, who was Kenny Chesney and Willie's producer, and Reba McEntire and everybody and their brother.
Yep.
And he's a buddy. He's an old buddy of ours. And we did it over at Sound Emporium, which is Cowboy Jack Clement's old studio.
Oh, great.
My favorite. The vibes in that room were great to record.
Right. Yeah.
Because I sure do miss Cowboy. He was a great guy.
Yep. I think I had a chance to talk to him a few years back, and he was pretty entertaining. Plenty of stories to tell.
He's larger than life. Yeah,
I'm sure. Yeah. So what did Buddy Cannon add to the mix as a producer?
Well, how this all came about is I was talking to Buddy on the phone and he said, "What are your plans? It looks like things are beginning to kind of, back then we thought things were kind of opening up due to COVID. So what are your plans?" And I said, "Well, I'd like to," just jokingly, I said, "I'd like to make one more singer-songwriter record before I quit."
Uh-huh.
And he said, "Well, I'd be proud if you'd let me produce it." And which knock my socks off. Buddy's an old friend, but they're friends, and then they're holy moly friends, and he's one of those holy moly friends that I just I couldn't believe that he would consider taking the time to do that and offer it so readily. And so he said, "I'll tell you what you do." He said, "Just get your acoustic guitar out." He said, "If you've recorded any of these songs before, I don't want to hear it.
Right.
I want you to just take acoustic guitar and vocal and send me a batch of songs, and we'll start picking from there."
And what went through your mind when he said that to you?
I was thinking, well, I got to dust some old stuff off and see how that goes. And you always have your favorites that you may have recorded before, but you think, I'd kind of like to have another crack at that song.
Right.
Either as a minor rewrite or a musical arrangement or even a vocal style arrangement, whatever. And so it was really something I was really looking forward to getting back to some of these songs that I'd written before on the record and doing it. So I sent him about 22 or 3 songs, I guess, and we chose these ones that made it to the album.
Cool. It kicks off with a tune called "I Hit the Road and the Road Hit Back," which is a good way to kick anything off. So tell me about that one. Where'd that one come from?
Mama begged me to put the guitar down. I should have listened, but it's too late now. Left that farm in a beat of Cadillac. I hit the road and the road hit back.
Robbie Folks and I wrote that together. And it's kind of along the lines of, when you're 16, 17 years old, and you're embarking on a career in the music business, your expectations are a lot different than the actual reality of it. And especially looking back some 50 plus years later for me, things aren't quite the way they came out, but they came out okay.
Yeah, right. Fair enough. And it's followed by a tune called "I'm Back and Lonelier Than Ever," a classic country weeper, cry in your beer kind of tune.
Don't sit behind that veil of smoke, pretending not to see. The walk is slow, the smile is gone, but it's still the same old me. The man who drank his final glass and left you long ago has loved and lost and now crawls back where all good losers go. Yes,
Do you have a preference? Do you like the upbeat stuff, the ballads, or?
I'm primarily a ballad singer. That's what I love to do the best. And I think that shows in this album and in the past albums that I've done. But every now and then you like something a little up tempo and something a little smack to it, like I Hit the Road and the Road Hit Back. It just makes it's a fun thing to sing.
Right.
As far as if I was just going to sit down with a guitar, first thing I'd do is grab a ballad.
Right. And there's a tune called "Rock Bottom Population 1," which sounds, there's some cool pedal steel and fiddle and stuff. So who's playing on these things along with you?
Welcome to Rock Bottom Population 1. Just over by the mountain where a fool fell from. If you're looking for a heartache, stop and get you some. Here in Rock Bottom Population 1.
Mike Johnson is the steel player on this recording, and we used the fiddlers from the Time Jumpers, which is not too bad, not a bad place to go when you're looking for some great fiddling.
Yep.
And that song has quite a long life too. Robbie's recorded it. I've recorded it once before. And it was also included in the Flintstones soundtrack in the movie on the soundtrack album, an earlier version of the song,
I'm sure.
which I was real excited about until I realized the only thing you had to do to get a song in the soundtrack for the Flintstones movie is have the word rock in the title.
Right.
that was the prerequisite. That's all it was needed. So we were proud to have it in there.
That's very cool. So did I see that you did a gig at the Grand Ole Opry just recently?
Yes, and I'm going back actually on May the 7th. The Opry's been real good to me over the past few years. Been there at least 2 or 3 times a year, sometimes more.
Right.
And it is the be all and end all for me. I'll never take those shows lightly or for granted because the Opry is, well, the Opry.
Right. So what kind of show are you going to put on
history
when you get there?
I'm sorry?
What kind of show are you planning on putting on the 7th?
Well, we got a little surprise for everybody. I can kind of spill the beans on it now because it looks like all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted.
Yep.
But Bill Anderson's on the very same night. And Bill does a recitation on the song that we wrote together with Buddy.
Right.
And we're going to go out and do that. I'm going to bring Bill out on my portion of the show, and we'll do that. And I'm also bringing along Buddy Cannon to sing some harmony on the stage too at the same time.
Sounds like fun.
It's going to be a fun night.
Yep. And once the album is out and that show is over, what are you thinking about doing next? Well,
it's about time to start getting busy again.
Right.
Looks like things are beginning to open up a little bit. I was in Chicago week before last for a couple of shows in that area, and going to get out, hit this record as much as time will allow as far as my radio responsibilities go. The beauty of it is, I live close to an airport. Just hop on a plane and go somewhere as soon as somebody will have me, and go and get back home as soon as I can to get back to work.
Yep. So how was the COVID lockdown situation like for you? How did it affect you?
We left Austin, Texas. We moved from Austin right in the middle of COVID to Bristol, Tennessee, where we live now.
Yep.
And selling the house, packing up, moving, and settling into a new one during a pandemic was quite an experience. One of the things that COVID-19 allowed us to do here was to get our house set up. Wasn't gone every weekend, out on the road somewhere. So we had plenty of time on the weekends to do stuff like unpack boxes and decide what we wanted to do and where we wanted to do it. And so that was kind of a blessing in and of itself. And I think now I'm seeing more people getting out. We did a show recently here in Bristol, my very first show in Bristol here at the Paramount Theater with the Mavericks.
Great. Back. Yeah, cool.
And it was the enthusiasm of seeing an audience out in public now, because they're really anxious. They're ready to get out and do something. All of us have been locked down for so long, and it kind of rejuvenated me a little bit as far as not taking for granted what I've done for the last 50 years or so. And I'll never take it for granted again. I've always been really grateful for everything that's ever happened, but I'll tell you what, I sure did miss playing in front of folks there for about a year and a half. I went from 110 dates in 2019 to the grand total of 3 in 2020. Man,
that's tough. Yeah.
Oh, it was a big adjustment.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. Now you mentioned Austin. I see you got Willie Nelson stuff on your walls and all around you. Tell me, we have a Kiwi country singer who's originally from Canada. Her name is Tammy Nielsen, and she just went to Austin and she was on stage with Willie and had him doing background vocals on one of his songs. So, do you have any stories of you and Willie?
Well, Willie and I go back a long way because after all, I do work for his radio station, Willie's Roadhouse on Sirius XM.
Yep.
And he is a great guy to work with because of he's Willie, number one.
Right.
And number two, he's been there and he's seen it all.
Right.
And nothing rattles him I've never seen him really physically rattled about anything. It's always been greeted with a smile and a calm word when you need one.
Yeah,
he's always got one, and he's an amazing person. I'm just glad he doesn't sell cars because he can talk you into anything. I'd have 15 of them in the driveway if he did, because he will get excited about something and he'll talk you into it.
Excellent.
Very persuasive gentleman.
Yeah. And heck, he makes Whisperin Bill Anderson seem like a youngster by comparison.
Well, Bill Anderson asked Willie one time, he said, Willie, I do extremely well on the road as far as my attendance of my shows everywhere but Texas. I can't seem to I can't ever sell out Texas like I can most other places.
Right.
And Willie told him, said, hell, Bill, people in Texas drink beer louder than you sing. It's one of Bill's favorite stories.
That's a classic. That's excellent. All righty. All right. Well, thank you very much. Have a great day.
Marty, thanks for the visit, and I hope to see you soon. Maybe I'll get down there someday.
Okay. Righto. Bye-bye.
You got it.